Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me here. It's a pleasure to be part of this event, and happy birthday to Canaan. Uh, yeah, thank you. One question to the audience at the very beginning. Please raise your hand if you have at least a rough idea what Stratum means, what Stratum protocol is. Just to, okay. It's gonna be tough. So I'll try to go on the very top so that we can all follow. At the very beginning, I would like to give you just a broad background of what we do so that you know where we are coming from and why the opinions of us for the future of Bitcoin mining could be interesting. So our company is around I think 13 years. It's quite a long story. What we do is, in general, Bitcoin mining tools, whatever is possible to do in the Bitcoin mining space on the software level, we try to improve. As you already heard, the key tool which we run for 13 years is Braiins pool. Originally, you could hear about it as Slush pool, but we just rebranded it under one umbrella. Very interesting experience for all the years. We have been seeing stuff from the garage times up until very industrialized things as you know it from today. Lately, our biggest focus is on the firmware area in relation to Stratum V2, which is a communication protocol for Bitcoin mining. Our firmware, Braiins OS Plus, which is the first aftermarket firmware solution replacing CG miner, currently running a few hundreds of thousands machines. We do support Stratum V2 already, so there is a implementation in place. We'll get back to it a bit later. It's a key product for us. We do see a lot of space for improvement and innovation on the firmware and control level for hardware machines. Lately, we started to look into hardware as well, because there is still some space for improving efficiency. The first product launch this year is a control board, obviously running our firmware, allowing miners to do smarter stuff than just what's available through stock firmware. These were products which we do monetize, but we do appreciate our presence in Bitcoin space so much that we try to contribute even in non-monetary way. So we provide free tools for miners for management of machines, some auditing, installing firmware, and so on. You can double check on the websites. A big part of our core mission is to spread information and education around. There's so many interesting people in the industry going around and spreading information, but we do still feel that not a lot of good sources of information is out there. So we do produce books, we try to publish research, and so on. And so if you look at the booth, we do have books there. So go to Christian and you can get a book for free. Now, we are getting to the Stratum V2 topic. As part of our attempts to improve the whole ecosystem, we came with a new version of the communication protocol for mining. It's called Stratum. Originally, or if you look at the whole mining ecosystem nowadays, every single machine communicates with a pool by Stratum protocol. It's very old protocol. It's been around 12 years, 10 years, something like that. But we do see there is a need for something better. So we came up with the second version of the protocol. It's in a collaboration with other people in the industry. But originally, it's been designed in Braiins labs. One key thing about Stratum, and we are being asked a lot about it, but the protocol is completely open. Us as Braiins, as a company, we do not have any direct or indirect financial interest in the protocol. It's completely independent on any company, but we do feel it's valuable for the whole ecosystem, as we will go through some of the details. But it's a good disclaimer. We don't have anything as an interest in it commercially. Now, because I realize there is not a lot of people understanding what Stratum protocol means, I will spend some time explaining roughly what it is about. If you run a machine to work properly, it needs to be communicating with a mining pool, so that the mining pool distributes the work to the miner. And the way how these two parties are communicating, it's by a communication protocol. Currently, it's Stratum V1. It's very old, very inefficient, but when we introduced it in 2012, it was much better than the previous solution, but it's very old nowadays. So we feel there is a need for a new standard, which, as you can imagine, it's quite difficult to make happen, because there are millions of machines out there running. There are several tens of pools. So to coordinate that different parties would join efforts and move from one communication protocol to another, even though it can be backwards compatible, it's a big thing. So the main point of this talk is to give you an impression that whenever you would meet anybody or anything related to V2, you would know, yes, I want to support it, and it's going to be fine. One more thing. We did speak about miners communicating with pools. It's the main communication line, but there is even one communication party or one aspect of the whole mining which we didn't speak about yet, and this is the whole Bitcoin network, the peer-to-peer nodes. Right now, these nodes are not participating in the mining process directly. They are hidden behind the pools, so pools are connected to the Bitcoin network. This in Stratum V2 setup will be changed, and it's one of the major innovations coming with Stratum V2, as we'll describe later. But Stratum V2 basically defines how these three parties should communicate together so that some advanced use cases could be created. Now, the needed support for Stratum V2 is mainly in the two parties, let's say. Hardware manufacturers ideally would support Stratum V2 on the machine level, on the hardware level. It can be done either in the traditional firmware provided by the vendors, or as in our case with Braiins Plus, it could be even in aftermarket firmware, but the support on hardware level is necessary. Obviously, on the pool side, again, the more pools which would support the protocol, the better. We do have indications and talks with several pools in the direction of implementing Stratum V2. Braiins pool obviously supports it. but there are other companies implementing it as well. But more push from every single miner or any participant in the industry would be helpful. A key thing regarding the mining nodes, full support of Stratum V2 does not need any consensus change, so that we can get all the benefits, as we will talk about a bit later, without changing the rules of Bitcoin, which sometimes is a bit surprising, but it's true. It's a key thing. Now, what are some benefits of the proposed solution? First, very simple one is security. Right now, all mining is completely unsecure. You can attack the mining process in various ways. Stratum V2 fixed this. It's a simple thing, slightly more complicated on technical level, but still quite clear. The very major benefit of Stratum V2, and it is understood by non-mining community as well, is the fact that it allows to do mining in more decentralized way. Right now, there is a big problem with pools controlling what blocks will be mined. So you as a miner, you just give your power to a pool, and the pool decides what blocks will be mined. The more strong the pools are, the bigger centralization of power, the bigger risk of transaction censorship, and so on and so on. There is a lot of troubles related to concentrating the power into pools' hands. Now, we do not spend a lot of time in the mining industry dealing with this, like thinking about it. But from the outside perspective, from the whole Bitcoin ecosystem perspective, or even from a public perspective, it's very tough topic to address. There is a lot of even common media attention related to possible attacks on independence of Bitcoin network in general, all caused by the centralization issue. Stratum V2, if implemented in big enough large enough scale, allows miners, as the mining farms, not pool operators, to participate on the block selection or transaction selection, meaning removing the centralization part or centralization pressure from the equation. There is much more miners, independent miners in the world than there is pool operators. So by shifting the responsibility or availability of block construction from pools to miners, we would support the decentralization very strongly. There are even some, let's say, less major but still very nice benefits of implementing Stratum V2. The protocol itself is much more efficient on all levels. It's much faster. It allows some cases like decreasing the probability of mining empty blocks, and so on and so on. There's, please check stratumprotocol.org, and there is a list of benefits of the protocol. So to summarize, Stratum V2 is quite global effort to replace the communication protocol for mining. There is several different companies trying to implement it in firmware pool. There's even open source independent implementation of all the software stack needed to be run on pool side or firmware side, or and Stratum V2 still, because it's a major task to move from V1 to V2, needs support from everybody, even just by asking your hardware vendor or pool operator why you don't support Stratum V2. So any help would be very appreciated, and thanks for your time.